try to, okay, so Marion Woodman, she would say she lived in a soulless paradigm where the power principle of the patriarchy was massacring both the masculine and the feminine. And so Marion Woodman strove very hard to bring both of these principles to consciousness, which has nothing to do with gender. They're just fundamental ways of being and perceiving in the world. So the feminine principle it's not only about creativity and receptivity, but also it's really about, when you look at the sunset, you can really see the sunset. And if you look at the flower, you really see that flower. And if you're busy and stressed, can you afford to spend 1 hour each day writing down and analyzing your dreams? So the soul sees with the inner eye and hears with the inner ear. Many of us are addicted to perfection, and what we have to do is we have to nurture the soul. We have to allow the soul to grow. We have to protect the soul. You see, I think of it as this great hole in the center with people running around as fast as they can around that hole because they're terrified of the chaos into which they will fall. So at the center of this running, this frantic, addictive running, is the hole that contains chaos, but it also contains the soul. I have this image of the soul just huddling in the center, trying to stay alive. So in any workshop, somebody has to contain, or the workshop falls on its face, as Marion Woodman said. And so to protect the soul, part of it is this expansion, where we have to learn to hold the tension of the opposites. And this is where I would say, I'm going to stay with the conflict. And it's that conflict that stretches us to the point where we start to build our own container. So Marion has overcome addictions, and she's overcome many struggles. And water break, everybody needs self-care. Yes. And she worked so much with dreams and archetypal energies. And you have to have a strong ego for the archetype to go through you in such a way that you can work with that archetype and use the positive sides of that archetype and not allow it to possess you, or if you can identify with an archetype to such a point where it can kill you. And so protecting the soul, in spite of all the chaos around us that makes us want to box ourselves into rigid boxes where we can have some measure of control or power, this illusory sense of security, but our unconscious knows that we're not ever really secure at all. So at this point, we need to integrate the divine in matter. It is trying to come through in the new paradigm. It's coming into consciousness as we speak. People see it in their dreams. It's coming through in people's dreams, oftentimes in the form of a sacred feminine figure, like the Black Madonna or Sophia, that energy is trying to come to consciousness, and it meets us at the level of the soul. See, if we only seek spirit, if we seek the perfection of the spirit, that perfection principle, it does not love, it does not recognize humanity, because you see the anger, the greed, the lust, the grief, the jealousy, it's all here. We're human beings. We are not perfect. We are not gods. So, to protect our soul, though it may be surrounded by chaos, the divine has to meet the human. The vulnerability, so we can open up to the rigidity, can open to the vulnerability, and the vulnerability to the strength. And this is where we have to surrender. It takes huge strength to surrender, because if we open and surrender, you don't know what's going to come through. You might find that you're a poet, then you have to take responsibility for that. It might be your calling. So, step away. Okay, a little bit of Elisa, but so I'll close this section maybe with a quote, Marian's quote. I will read, and a lot of these were quotes too. But a life truly lived constantly burns away veils of illusion, burns away what is no longer relevant, gradually reveals our essence until at last we are strong enough to stand in our own naked truth. Marian Woodman was a drama teacher, and I would really like to perform a silent act, or a nearly silent act to close, that incorporates some of Marian Woodman's ideas and Jungian ideas as well. And I hope that Marian would approve of this sort of silent act that I wrote up. And if it gets too intense for anyone, feel free to close your eyes, or it might not be intense enough. We'll just see what happens. Okay, here we go. And thank you for being so supportive. You're all just amazing. Yes. No. 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 Yes. 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 I sing. I feel. I love. I am. I am. I am. Thank you.